Gold is one of the rarest elements on Earth, but the journey from raw rock buried deep underground to a flawless 99.99% pure bar is even rarer. It's a process so precise, so guarded, and so unforgiving that only a handful of facilities in America can do it at the highest standard. What most people don't realize is that every bar of pure gold starts its life looking nothing like the glossy bricks locked away in vaults. It begins as broken stone, crushed dust, harsh chemicals, molten fire, and microscopic grains hidden inside tons of useless rock. Yet through hundreds of steps, each one demanding accuracy down to the smallest fraction of a percent, that raw material transforms into one of the most valuable objects humans can produce. Today, you're seeing how America turns nature's most stubborn treasure into its purest and most perfect form: a 99.99% gold bar. Gold mining in the United States begins far from factories, deep inside some of the most rugged terrains in states like Nevada, Alaska, and Colorado. Miners don't stumble upon chunks of shiny metal. Instead, they work with ore, huge blocks of rock containing tiny particles of gold, often so small they aren't visible even under magnification. Modern mining is a high-tech operation. Massive drills bore through mountains with GPS precision. Explosives are placed strategically to loosen only the necessary rock, reducing waste and environmental impact. Once the ore is blasted loose, gigantic haul trucks, taller than two-story houses, carry hundreds of tons at a time to crushing stations. Crushing is the first step where the true transformation begins. The ore is fed into machines that grind it down from boulders to pebbles and ultimately to powder. The goal is simple: free every single microscopic piece of gold from the stone holding it hostage. After grinding, the powder enters a mill that mixes it with water to create a slurry, allowing chemical processes to interact evenly with the particles. From here, one of the most important stages begins: extracting the gold from the slurry. In modern American mining, the most common method is cyanidation, a chemical technique that dissolves gold at the molecular level. The slurry enters large tanks where it's mixed with a safe, controlled cyanide solution. Gold doesn't dissolve in water, but it does dissolve in cyanide, meaning it separates from the worthless rock around it. The liquid gold solution is then filtered, leaving behind impurities while the gold-rich liquid moves onward. In the next step, activated carbon absorption, millions of tiny carbon particles are introduced, each acting like a magnet for dissolved gold molecules. Carbon traps the gold and leaves the rest behind. The loaded carbon is then heated, releasing the gold once again, this time in a concentrated form that's ready for smelting. Smelting marks the moment the process goes from chemistry to fire. The concentrated gold is fed into a furnace that can exceed 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt solid rock. As the gold melts, impurities rise to the surface as a dark, glassy layer called slag. Workers carefully skim this slag away, leaving only molten gold glowing bright orange. This molten metal is then poured into molds to form what's called door bars, rough, unrefined bars usually containing around 80% to 90% gold mixed with silver, copper, and other trace metals. These door bars are not the final product. They're the raw material shipped to America's top refineries. The moment a door bar arrives at a refinery, its identity is verified, weighed, sampled, and tested. Every refinery has strict chain of custody rules, ensuring no bar is misidentified or misplaced, because even one mistake can cost millions of dollars. Refining is where science and craftsmanship collide to create 99.99% pure gold. The most advanced refineries in America use a method called electrolysis. The door metal is melted again and cast into thin plates. These plates are placed into electrolyte baths, along with pure gold starter sheets. When electricity flows through the bath, the plates dissolve, and only the gold reattaches itself to the pure sheets. All impurities, including silver, copper, iron, and dozens of other metals, fall away and settle at the bottom. What grows on the starter sheets is pure crystalline gold. Those crystals are collected, melted once again at extreme temperatures, and poured into molds that give gold bars their perfect rectangular shape. But even after pouring, the job is far from finished. Each bar undergoes meticulous cooling, trimming, and polishing. Machines measure weight down to a fraction of a gram. Laser scanners verify dimensions. X-ray fluorescence tests confirm purity. If a bar fails even one measurement, it is melted down and refined again until it meets the 99.99% or 4 nines standard. The gold bars that pass inspection are then stamped with several critical markings. These include their purity, weight, refinery serial number, and certification logos recognized by international markets. The stamp doesn't just identify a bar, it guarantees it. Investors, banks, and governments trust these markings because they represent some of the world's strictest quality controls. Storage is the final stage. Most pure gold bars never touch human hands again after inspection. They're sealed in protective packaging and moved into temperature-controlled vaults protected by advanced security that includes biometric locks, seismic detection, and 24/7 surveillance. Inside these vaults, each bar is placed in a climate-stable environment where it can remain unchanged for decades, centuries, or even millennia. What makes this entire journey so impressive is that gold is one of the most difficult elements to refine to absolute purity. Unlike many metals, gold doesn't react easily. It doesn't rust, oxidize, or corrode. These characteristics make it precious, but they also make it incredibly challenging to separate from other materials. Achieving 99.99% purity requires not just heat and chemicals, but precision engineering, expensive equipment, and highly trained specialists who understand every risk and margin of error. Across America, this industry supports miners, chemists, engineers, metallurgists, geologists, machine operators, safety inspectors, and countless other workers. Every bar represents thousands of hours of human effort and decades of technological innovation. It's easy to look at a finished brick of gold and simply see wealth, but behind that wealth is a chain of people and machines operating in perfect coordination. Even more fascinating is how little gold actually exists. If you melted all the gold ever mined in human history, it would barely fill 4 Olympic-sized swimming pools. The amount of pure gold created each year in America is even smaller, making every single bar the product of enormous effort and rarity. That's why 4/9 gold is so valuable, because it demands perfection in an imperfect world. Its purity represents not just technical achievement, but the culmination of centuries of refining knowledge passed from one generation to the next. Each ounce reflects thousands of hours of labor, countless tons of ore moved, and extraordinary precision at every step. 4/9 gold is the closest humanity has come to isolating elemental perfection, a metal reduced to its purest identity. Collectors and investors prize it not simply for its beauty, but for what it symbolizes: scarcity, purity, and mastery. In a world of mass production, gold at this level remains defiantly handcrafted by science and skill. Its rarity grows even more apparent when you realize how few refineries on Earth can achieve such standards consistently. Every bar becomes a testament to human ingenuity and the unyielding pursuit of excellence. It is this interplay between nature's limits and our determination that makes 4/9 gold more than a commodity. It becomes a legacy. Gold has shaped civilizations, fueled economies, and inspired legends. But the truth behind it isn't mythical, it's industrial. From drilling and blasting to crushing and chemistry to furnaces and electrolytic baths, America's gold-making process transforms Earth's rawest minerals into one of humanity's most iconic symbols of power and value. And the next time you see a shining 99.99% pure gold bar, you'll know the extraordinary journey it survived. If you enjoyed this breakdown of how pure gold is created, make sure you like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more deep dives into how the world's most valuable materials are made.